And good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 for Wednesday, September the 28th, 2022. Wow. Every time you think that you really get an understanding of what the market's doing and how it's going to get there, it always will just throw a bunch of stuff out there at you and make you really take a closer look and work your count. And that is pretty much what today did. And I'll tell you what really sealed it, that I needed to sit down and just truly come up with exactly with what this market, what the markets are doing. And I believe that I've done that now. So let's just jump in. I'm starting today on the daily chart, and I've been doing that for both the NASDAQ and the S&P. But starting here with the NASDAQ, the market overnight went up and finished what I was counting as a subminute wave 4. And then what I was looking for is a subminute wave 5 coming down. Well, we got that. And it actually came down to 0.786% of a retracement coming, actually it was an extension coming off. And I know that we were all looking for the 100%, but it got there and then it launched. And it launched with such intensity that it kind of threw out the sub count, the sub-minute count, brought us back into the minute count, and then pushed it right to the completion of the minor wave 3. So let's just kind of take a quick look. I'm going to go down to the hourly chart, but I wanted to show you here on the daily that it cleans up all that internal counting that was going on and puts a better cap on this fourth wave versus the counting it differently. Now, having said that, I do have, there's the intermediate wave 2, then we have minor 1, 2, minor 3. So I believe that's what we finished today, minor 3 of the intermediate 3. So what's that tell us? And by the way, I did work out the numbers. And minor wave 1, as I've got it labeled, is 905 points. Minor wave 3, which would have begun here, it comes in at 1,111. So wave 3 is not the shortest wave. So even if we get a fairly decent fourth wave, which I believe we will now, and I'll show you more of that when I drop down, wave 5, minor wave 5, now has full reign to come through and extend and extend and extend. But we've often just been wondering, what's it going to take for, because if we're really now getting ready to kind of put in minor wave 5 to complete intermediate wave 3, we're still looking for it to come down to those levels that we have been discussing. And let me just throw those on for the intermediate wave 3. So we're going to start to work our fibs now. And so we're going to go here on the daily. We're going to go to, let's see, I think it's this one. Oops, come on. And then up to the top of wave 2. All right, so 100% we reached today. And we dipped just below it and it raced up out of it. So that would have been for intermediate wave 3, right? Because that's what I'm looking for now. So basically what we reached today is where intermediate wave 3 would have been equal or would be equal to intermediate wave 1. But we're not done yet. So as I have been stating and considering all along, that the intermediate third wave should come down to 1.618. And that's going to be 10,043. And then we'll rally in, and that'll be intermediate wave 3. We'll rally in an intermediate wave 4 and then drop again in an intermediate fifth wave. And that's the one I think can bring us down towards that other area that we were looking at for the primary degree wave C. And that's down between 8,000 all the way down to about, I think, 6,800. So that still stays in place. but we had such a tangle trying to figure out exactly how is this unfolding. Well, thank God that we just kind of always leave it up to the market, because as screwy as today's response to intervention by some of the European banks and the Central European Bank and the dollar finally beginning to ease off of those highs that it did yesterday, and the Bank of England buying back bonds, et cetera, boy, the reaction was just get out of the pool. In fact, Apple had come out yesterday and was talking about the fact that they're cutting back production for iPhone 14. And that because the demand is not there. Well, initially the stock opened down 5, went down 6, got all the way down below 145. And I don't think it got below 144. I could just check real quick, couldn't I? Just let me go real quick over here and see. Apple's low today was 144.84. So it did get below 145. And then rallied, and at one point this stock was back above 150. Now that's pretty negative news, and the reaction was quite swift and quite severe. But the fact that basket after basket after basket after basket across the board in the NASDAQ, in the broader market, which includes the Dow and the S&P, and in the Russell, pushed Apple all the way back up. Now, granted, it still closed down almost to $2. But the fact that they rallied it all the way back was amazing to me. And so I think that it just really caused some very serious short covering across the board. And a lot of these stocks that have just been shorted. I mean, take a look at Netflix, up 20. I mean, people are like bailing and just being short Netflix and had to go and cover today. So I actually do think that once all this does settle down, that they'll be turning it all back around and going to look to reinstitute their shorts, but we'll see. So because we're going to be moving now into our earnings cycle. So we have third quarter earnings reports coming out, and they really begin as we move into October, which, by the way, next Monday is October the 3rd. So we're beginning to move into earnings cycles, and that's where I think a lot of this reaction today will be history. Because I think as the earnings come out, that's going to produce our next sequence of stronger downside moves. Now, back to our picture here. So if we're really considering that the minor wave 3 is now complete at today's low, let's go down to that hourly chart and take a look at in between all of this. Pull this up a little bit. This was quite the rally. And what I can basically figure from this rally is that, in my opinion, let me just go one more time down to maybe the 30 and look at some of the inside here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe that we got a 5-wave advance here. Either that or it's A, B, and this is a C wave, and that's all of 4. And now we go from here and start to work our way lower. Could happen. A one-day wonder could happen. We'll see. It's a tough call right now, and we got to play it because wave 4. Oh, come on. I tell you, I go too fast sometimes. Wave 4, as it appears to me right now, appears that it's likely going to be a zigzag. So wave A is 5, and wave B will be 3 waves, and then we'll get a C wave. So what I've done is I have put up the fibs for, I need to put up the different fibs. So let me take this one off, and we need to put up the fibs for wave 4. And so we're going to be correcting wave 3. So, nope. Give me 1 second. Back over to there. Let's take a look at what our potential for wave 4 can be. Whoa, right there. Thank you. we'll take it down to this low. So what it looks like is 382 has already been reached. So that kind of leaves it open, but right above today's high. So that's another reason. Okay, so let me go back and say, you know, if this really does turn out that this was an ABC and it was real quick and real forceful, then we reached it today and we got up to the hourly 200s. We had the SMA at 642 and the EMA at 621. So the rally was powerful, very, very powerful. And while tricky to trade at points, did just kind of blow the doors off of everybody on their way up. So if we're looking for the 4 here, then it's just going to turn. Otherwise, we could get a little B wave, and then we still get a C wave, and that C wave could bring us up. What the C wave can't do, what that 4th wave can't do, is it can't go above 12,000, 12,076 to be exact. So that would not be part of my expectations, but that is where wave 4 would overlap wave 1, and that's the rule that it cannot do. So we could get a pretty strong finish here to a 4th wave. Could be here, or we could drop a little bit and find ourselves rallying again. And that kind of makes sense. Tomorrow's Thursday. Then guess what, folks? Friday, we got an expiration again. And on board will be Apple, and boy, will it be volatile. Over 130 million shares of Apple traded today. And options just left and right traded today. So Apple was the cream of the crop in terms of trades. So let's just gonna have to take it as we do. But I do believe that we're inside a 4th wave. It may be complete because, again, the first Fibonacci retracement level has been reached. And now it closed back down below it, which could set us up for a couple of things. So for tomorrow now in the NASDAQ, we have that we could be dropping down. Again, I'm going to use our moving averages. We'll have support at the 8, which is at 11,468. And then we have just some fib support at 407. And then we have the 20, which has crossed the 50s, may retreat, but that's at just below 11,400. And then we have the 50s all the way down to 11,360, I'm going to call it. So that could be a little B wave in between all of this. And then we get another 5-wave rally, and then maybe up to 11,700. Now, remember the key word in that statement was maybe. The market will let us know. The market cleaned up the count very nicely, actually. The only part I really don't like is the 5th wave, but 5th waves can be exactly like this. So all in all, count seems to be strengthened actually after today to clear up a lot of the mess, put our 3rd wave in, and give us that 4th wave bounce. So what we're really continuing to work on is, again, this series of 3s, 4s, and 5s. And that would belong over here. And let me put that over here where it belongs. So that is the NASDAQ. Now, once again, everybody's talking about somewhat oversold. Yeah, well, guess what? Now we're getting overbought. So again, we could take a look at the daily chart and see how overbought it really is, but I'm sure that everybody's going to be looking to see where we stand. All right. Going over to the S&P, it's the same picture. So once again, it actually was the NASDAQ, but I had been talking about how the NASDAQ would clear up the picture and catch up to or equal the S&P, and that's pretty much what has happened here. So same deal. Now I moved 1 and 2 over a little bit. I had put 1 here and 2 up here, I believe, and then the rest, and that still might be the case. But here in the S&P, wave 1 is 237 points, and wave 3, bingo, is 369. So again, here in the S&P, cleans up a lot of thoughts and worry about, gee, where would wave 3 complete? We have all this stair stepping to do, and et cetera, and it cleans up a lot. We're still going to stair step now, but we were looking at and making sure that our minor third wave was not going to come in as even a hint that it could be the shortest wave out of 1, 3, and 5 out of this sequence down. So that's all been cleaned up. So everything is looking back on track to bring about that intermediate wave 3 will be the longest. Minor wave 3 is the longest. Minute wave 3 is the longest. So we've got a lot of things still staying in line and doing proper Elliott so that we can get this together and get a picture here. Same deal. It's gone from extreme oversold almost to overbought. We're getting up there above 60, they say on an RSI starts to designate oversold or overbought. And now if we move over the 70 line, we'll be varying. So tomorrow, same deal. We got to wait and see how this all wants to play out in terms of this move. So again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 could be an ABC, or 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, and a 5, and then a little bit of a pullback. So we got a lot still kind of to go with, and I don't think that today's buying is going to be a one-day wonder, but it could. Again, tomorrow we have, let me just see, GDP and jobless claims, both market movers. Now, again, what's going to come back into the picture tomorrow? Inflation, higher rates, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not going to be, oh my God, they're bringing the dollar down. That's bullish, bullish, bullish. It's like, in one hand today, I just think that algorithms have a tendency to over exaggerate and press a lot of moves that happen very suddenly. When it's a short squeeze or a long squeeze, boy, can it just kick in and they just start hitting and they start getting out and they start readjusting. And the fact that we've got expirations and all the rest of the stuff with the options, things just really start to appear to be out of hand. And that is pretty much kind of what happened. By the end of the day, the only NASDAQ stock that I could see on my board that was actually down of any magnitude was Apple. All the other big boys were up. In fact, the big winner today is Netflix. Netflix. It was amazing. So for tomorrow, I think that what we need to do, and we're opening a little bit weaker. We're just now getting into our opening here. Not much, not bad, but just a little bit down, a little bit up. So we'll wait and see how that all going to turn out. So again, if we get up here, we could possibly be putting in a 5 waves up off that low. And I would take it as wave A of wave 4. And that wave 4 will be a zigzag. That's what I would think. We've already surpassed the previous 4th wave, right? If this is the minor degree, minor 4, most often they'll find its terminus within the 4th wave of 1 lesser degree right here. And we've already exceeded that. So it doesn't mean that we're going to, zip up to these levels, but it does bring it back to, it could be a zigzag. And if I look at wave 2, it may match up, it may not, because there's the rule of alternation. But I've been finding in 2022 and more recently that the rule of alternation is just, it's not a hard and fast rule anymore. So for tomorrow, I think we have pretty strong resistance. We should, because all through this decline, that except right there at the top back in August, the 200, in fact, the 200 SMA held it, but the EMA and the SMA have really contained all the rallies during this initial stronger leg down. I would continue to believe that that's what's going to be what's going to be the case. So we have the 200 sitting at 37.73 and 37.87. That's the EMA and SMA. Could they be reached? Yes, absolutely. But I think that the market here needs to pull back. So it needs to pull down a little bit. And we have the 8 at 37.13, the 20s at 36.90, and the 50s kind of hug each other about 36.75-ish. So I would think even an internal, if this is an A and a B, and then we still get a C wave, that would contain it, and then we rally again. If this completed wave 4, and we're a minor wave 4, and we're getting ready to jump and head back down, let me just put in where our fibs are going to be. That would be a good idea, huh? So actually, same deal here. It got up and touched the 0.382 level, which is the most common for a fourth wave when we compare to the third. So it's retraced 38%, and that was at 37.53. Right above that, we have 37.73 to 37.85, and those are the 200s. I would think that would hold. So there's a very strong possibility that this is complete, an ABC complete. Steep as it is, we'll see. We will see. But right now, I'm thinking we come down a little bit, we rally again, and maybe we rally only back to here. Maybe we get up closer to here and then turn. Where can it not go? Above there. Because that's where I'm marking minor wave 1 at 39.36. So it can't go that high. It's no longer a wave 4. If it took all of wave 3, nah. To me, not going to happen. It shouldn't happen. Shouldn't even get close to it, be honest with you. So again, it could just tell us a whole bunch of things, and we shall work it out. What I also will be doing between today and tomorrow is I'm going to try to get, I always like to have view 1, view 2. Right now, this is going to be view 1, obviously. View 2, in my opinion, may be something a little bit different, but not that much. I don't really see other alternatives here because of this response that we got off of that low. So again, everything may take a day or two, and we should get some clarification and some more certainty about what the market's intent is here. So I'm going to leave this right here. So again, for tomorrow, I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback. Should not be that steep unless this fourth wave is complete. Then it should just go. Be aware tomorrow, pre-market, so before the opening, we have the GDP and jobless claims, and that's going to give us more indications if the Fed's getting what they want in terms of more people going on unemployment to help us with inflation. So if the jobless claim shows that and GDP shows any type of reversal in terms of to the positive side, we're likely just going to continue to rally now. So that's where I'm going to leave it. Our next update will be on Thursday, the 29th.